Hello everybody and welcome to another Heroes of the Shire tutorial. Today you're with Damien. I'm the creator and the designer of Heroes of the Shire, and we're going to learn how to set up a scenario mode solo play. So we're just going to jump ahead. As you can see that we're already on our tabletop simulator server. We use this server because it just makes things a little bit faster, because I don't personally have a great setup, cameras and tripods for physical. So the first thing we're going to do when we're playing scenario mode, whether we're playing cooperative or solo, is elect a villain player. And the villain player is the baddie, or the dungeon master, or the game master. But we're, of course, in solo play, we're going to be the villain player, so we can skip that step. So the next thing that we would also look to do is pick our heroes. And guys, you can see that I'm just looking at the back of the rulebook there. There's a quick reference on setting up arena mode and scenario mode. We highly recommend having a quick look at that, because it will just give you what we're going to talk about today in some bullet points, just by the visuals. Okay. And if you'd like the visuals, I think they're on page 9 of the rulebook for the setup of the scenario mode. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick one of our heroes. So you'll find all of your heroes, regardless of which edition of the game that you have. If you have the Fire and Ice, you'll have 10 heroes. If you have the Earth and Water, you'll have 10 heroes. And if you're lucky enough to bag a collector's edition, we did at the crowdfunding, you should have all 20 of those heroes that you can see listed here. So for the purpose of our tutorial today, I've gone ahead and selected the Blood Mage. Once you select your character, you will then lay them out and set them up. So to learn how to set up a character, again, we recommend you playing the 1v1 tutorial that comes in the box, or alternatively have a quick look in the rulebook under, I think it's arena mode setup. It might be page 8 if scenario mode's page 9. What have we got here? No, my apologies, it's page 7 and 8. So this page here in the rulebook, which will help you learn how to set up a hero. So to set up the hero, we'll take the board. Let me just unlock this one, and it'll be this side, and this is sort of the blurb. And then we flip it over to the playing side, and then we set up. We place the spell mastery next to that. And then also we take the hero ability cards, which are on the back of the Blood Mage. So we can see the components that the Blood Mage needs are 2 Blood Demon cards. So we'd find those in the box, and they should be kept with all the other hero ability cards. And we know these are for the Blood Mage because they have his artwork on the back of the card. If you're lucky enough to be playing with your card sleeved, don't worry, you don't need to know. Once you've played the game a few times, you'll know the Blood Demons are for the Blood Mage anyway. But we have a little reference text down the bottom here. HAB is for hero ability, and the BLM is for Blood Mage. Okay, so this is card number 1 and this is card number 2. So you'd find those during the setup as well. And we just place those off to the side of the hero board. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll take one of our dice bags and we'll tip the dice bag out near the hero board. And in the dice bag, you'll notice that you've got some green D10 dice, and we use these to represent the HP. So I've gone ahead and chose the Blood Mage character. We can see here that his stat for HP is 44. So I have set 44 in the top left corner in this black box here. That's the HP for my Blood Mage. I've taken a little yellow cube that you'll see there's quite a few of those in the pre-made dice bags, and I placed that on level 1. Now when I place that on level 1, it allows me to also now buy a new spell or ability from my spell mastery. Other games you might be familiar with a tech tree or a skill tree or a talent system. So I've gone ahead and I've purchased this new spell here, or upgraded should I say, down the blood magic tree, and I've chosen Dark Soul. And to sort of buy the spell or ability, you'll take the power cube and you'll place it there in the little black box to the left of Dominant Sacrifice if I wanted that ability, or I place it here to the right if I wanted this spell, or we place it again to the left here if I wanted this Siphon Blood ability. I think this is page 10 of the rulebook. You'll find there's a detailed description. It is, yeah, page 10 on how to use the spell mastery. Okay. So again, recommend having a quick look at that. But in short, you level up 1 per level and you'll start unlocking these new spells abilities. They're progressive, so you need to have the ones above it before you can get the ones below it. So at level 1, I can only choose Dominant Sacrifice, Dark Soul, or Siphon Blood. We cannot choose any of the ones deeper into that path. We will do as the character levels up. Okay, so that's the spell mastery setup. We have the quick reference sheet off to the side. We have the equipment board just north of our hero board, ready for when we start acquiring nice loot items. Got the save game sheet down here. And because our character is at level 1, you'll notice that we place this power cube on level 1, and there's a little gold box, or gold border, should we say, around the level 1. That reminds us that we will receive a leveling up buff. So the leveling up buff you can see here, I've already chosen my leveling up buff. I've placed it in this level column here of the permanent buff section of our hero board, and I've chosen the defense stat. If you'd like to increase your HP, it would go there, and then you'd start at 45 HP instead of 44. Okay, so that also happens during the hero setup. When you tip the dice bag out, we recommend just popping off the excess power cubes underneath the spell mastery, because they'll be used on the spell mastery, and place your cooldown dice near your hero board, ready to be used at a later stage. Okay, our shield token goes in the top left corner. It goes near the HP, because when we get a shield a little bit later, we'll place a dice on here to represent the shield value, and it's almost like excess HP. Okay, so that's almost everything that we can see here on our hero. Okay, let's go back to the back of the rule book then. Let's see what else it tells us to do. So scenario setup here. We've done the villain player. We have chosen a hero, and now it tells us to select a party leader, and that player takes the backpack token. In our tutorial, you can see here that in solo play it is always yourself, because you are the party leader. So the Blood Mage character has the backpack token. That'll be used for excess loot items that we cannot equip a little bit later in the campaign. We'll dump them in the backpack, and then we'll try and trade them off with the Wandering Merchant. And you can see here that our Blood Mage character, he is the Shadow Elemental type, dictated by this little icon here, and he's a light armored hero. So if we start finding chainmail or golden gauntlets, and we can't equip these items because they may be heavy, of course they'll get dumped into the backpack. Okay, so that's the backpack sorted. Then it tells us to take quest cards. So you'll find the quest card deck, which should be a little 10 card deck, and then you'll shuffle that. You'll draw 2 cards, keep 1, discard the other. For the purpose of our tutorial, our Blood Mage has this quest card here. In the top left corner we've got the description. Underneath we have the objective, which is to find the Wandering Merchant, and we've got the quest reward. Okay, so that's the quest card here. Also, as well, I didn't mention that we also have our quick reference sheets, our quick reference cards here nearby. So let's go back to the rulebook. It tells us Step 6, find all relevant themed scenario components. So let's have a quick look at those now. So I've chosen to set up the fire scenario. So we've laid out the fire hexes here of phase 1, and it tells us, I think it's on page 24. Nope. Yes, it is. Yeah. Sorry, it is 24. The mod just doesn't count page 0, so it's always 1 page behind. The fire scenario I've chosen to lay out here, so it tells us to lay out the hexes in this exact order and to place the boss on this hex here. So if you chose to go down the route of the ice scenario, you can see how it'd be laid out here, and the bosses would be on there on hex 18, 13 and 24, and then you have your exit hex there. Okay. Once we've laid out the scenario, we place the boss there. We can go ahead and place our hero standee on the Shire hex. So my Blood Mage is here. My Blood Mage does have a Witch Doctor with them, or I will get into why I have a Witch Doctor with me in a moment. But then we have the action cards here, so these are all the fire themed action cards, and then below it we have the trash mobs, which are all fire themed. So when organising your cards, I think it's on page 33, packing the game away in the rule book. We recommend that you pack the cards away together in scenarios. So if we were to set this game up, we would just grab the fire cards, and the action card, the event card, and the trash mob card would all be kept together. Okay, your trash mob cards should be 16 of them. You can see that we have the fire ones, so they should look something like this. Okay, and the same for the action cards. They should have the red options here in the middle, and we can see in the bottom left hand corner that it tells us fire here on the card as well. Okay, and you should have 16 of those. You'll notice that we're playing with 21 of those, and I'll get into that in a moment why we've got the extra 5. Okay, so that's all the fire scenario components that we found there. Then we've got the generic scenario components. So what we've got over here is the exploration deck. The exploration deck is made up of 30 cards, and it tells us in the rulebook under the exploration card section. Let's have a quick look actually which section that is here. So we've got the backpack token, and we have the exploration cards here, and it tells us that the deck is consisted of only cards 1 to 26, and that cards 27 to 30 should be removed from the deck. So that's why in our setup here we've got 26 exploration cards, and we've got the 4 other cards just off to the side. Some of these action cards in the story a little bit later might tell us to shuffle these cards in, and sometimes these cards are automatically added to the deck if we're playing on hard or ultimate mode. Okay, so that's the exploration deck. Just north of that we have the quest ally cards, so they'll be kept near the quest deck. We have the quest rewards and the quest items all related to the quests, so all the quest stuff is all kept together. Then we have our 4 ally cards. Now there's only 3 here because for the purpose of this tutorial I've already jumped the gun and chosen my ally card. So I have chosen the Witch Doctor ally to join me on my adventure. Now this does not happen during the regular setup, but this does happen during the solo mode setup. So let's have a quick look here. We're on page 29 in the rulebook. It talks about ally cards, and then we have the solo mode section of the rulebook, which is page 31. And in page 31 it mentions during the setup to take an ally card. Okay, and it explains why we use the ally cards in there, but in short it's to stop you multi-handing, so it gives you a little small condensed version of another hero to play with. So you've got somebody to buff or somebody to help out, and somebody else to become the target of spells or abilities from the opponents, from the enemies. Okay, so I've set my Witch Doctor up here by placing the 3 and the 7 on the artwork, and that's represented because his HP is 37 here. Okay. Then next we've got the turn order card. So the turn order card up here is dictated by agility values of your characters. So I've placed the Blood Mage first, followed by the Witch Doctor, because if we come have a look at the agility here, we have 6 agility on the Blood Mage hero board, and we've only got 5 on the allied card of the Witch Doctor. So we know that the Blood Mage will always be acting before the Witch Doctor each round, unless the enemy monsters reduce the Blood Mage's stat below that of 5. Okay. Adjacent to the turn order card, we recommend placing the Blood Demon's turn order cards. The turn order tokens. And what that's for is when the Blood Mage summons these Blood Demon cards a little bit later, they will get added to the ability tab, which is the same place over here, this little golden bar to the left of our hero ability, where we've placed our ally card. So when the Blood Demon gets summoned during combat, we will set up his HP and then he has an agility of 6. So at that point, we will then add the Blood Demon to the turn order card. They would also act before the Witch Doctor because they had 6 agility. Okay, so that's why we recommend placing those near the turn order card, so they're ready to go a little bit later. We got our loot items. So our loot item deck here should consist of 42 cards. Ours contains only 36 because we've gone ahead already and set up the Wandering Merchant. So when we set up the Wandering Merchant, he steals the top 6 cards of the loot item deck, and they go underneath his card here, and we'll be able to buy or trade into these a little bit later throughout the campaign. And if you have the solo mode add-on, which contains another 80 cards to enhance solo mode play, we have there's a little leaflet in that solo mode deck, inside the solo mode add-on, and it tells you how to separate the decks. So what you'll find is that there's a 20 card passive deck, it's a 15 card defensive deck, and there's a 15 card aggressive deck. Now during play we only ever use the passive deck, but each time we spawn monsters we will roll the custom dice, and that will tell us to add an aggressive card or a defensive card to the passive deck. So effectively look at it as your character levels up and gets new spells and abilities and gets stronger. We also need our enemy monsters to also sort of get these new spells and abilities, so you'll start shuffling more of these cards into this deck as your campaign evolves. Okay, so that's the solo mode cards that we have to the side. And talking about the solo mode, this is why we have 21 action cards and not 16 in our setup here, because in the solo mode add-on there's an additional 5 action cards. We've gone ahead and placed those 5 action cards in the 16 card deck. So of course 16 plus 5 equals 21. And you'll see some of those here. So this is a regular action card because in the bottom left corner it tells us it's number 2 out of 16. Let's give this deck a quick shuffle. It's always the way, isn't it? We can't find the cards that we're looking for when we're doing a demonstration. Where are they? Okay, we found one here, and we can see that this card is number 2 out of 5, and it has an S up here to remind us that it's from the solo mode deck. So if we were decided to one day play cooperatively, we could take these cards out of the deck, but if you wanted to leave them in, you would just discard that card as it was drawn and then select another one. And in the little bottom left corner there's a little SAC, there's a reminder text for solo action card, whereas the other ones only have AC for action card. Okay, I think our setup is close to being complete now. We've got the ally cards, Wandering Merchant, Exploration deck. Oh yes, and then mentioning why, so going back to earlier, we mentioned that we also have the Witch Doctor standee on the Shire Hex with the Blood Mage, and that is because, as mentioned earlier, we are taking Witch Doctor ally with us on our adventure. Okay, that's it for our setup of our solo mode. In a bit of a nutshell, a couple of references, so don't forget, back page of the rulebook, there's 16 little steps there, and they're really handy to help you set up. If you're looking for slightly more visuals, we have, I think it's page 8 of the rulebook, a full A4 page here, and this will sort of show you everything that's laid out with a little description on them as well. And then scenario mode starts on page 21 of the rulebook, so you can read the scenario mode, how to play from there, and it will give you a good indication of have you got everything set up, because if it mentions something in there that you've left in the box, there's a good chance you'll probably need to get it out and lay that out. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us in our solo mode setup, and if you would like to continue with us, check out our how to play solo mode video on our website, and that will use this setup that we have here, and then we'll go ahead and start playing this solo mode, the fire scenario, and we'll get to this first boss here and see if we can defeat them live on camera. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.